Hello, Senator Blumenthal. This is Daryl Guberman. I'm sure you remember me, Sylvia's son. She'd be shaking her head right now saying, Daryl, unbelievable. Richard should not be like this. Well, I guess many years have tainted you a little bit. This also goes to Lorenzo Dalbert and also Beatrix Dalton. This video is about Blumenthal sat while the standards fell flat. And we've only just begun, Senator Blumenthal. You know, all it does is take one man to move a mountain, one man to knock down Goliath. Except in today's world, the ball has to be a little bit bigger. And I have big balls. So let's continue, shall we? Boeing forced its suppliers in 2002, April and July. They basically said, send in your cert, send in your parts, and we don't have to come visit you anymore. They gave up on-site auditing to 2 certificates. And they said that it was only if need be or need arises will we come out to visit you. Because back 7 months prior to that, in 9/11, they came out and they said they're going to lay off 20,000 to 30,000 employees. So they did a quick ditch there, came up with these supplier bulletins. And that's why I stood up. Because I have them. They took them down, by the way, January 2025, because you know what liability that has? Think about it as an attorney. Don't think about it as a senator. They basically said, send in your cert, send in your parts, and if need be or need arises, we'll come visit you on reducing redundant inspections. That's a no-no. In 2003, October, ANSI-ANAB designed this Heads Up 22 for those people who were AS9100, and they were accredited to ANSI-ANAB because Boeing, on their supplier portal, said ANSI-ANAB. On their supplier bulletin of July 2002 said you must be ANSI-ANAB accredited for AS9100. And then, here it is, Richard. This came right off ANSI-ANAB's website. This is the Management System Accreditation Committee that can grant, suspend, or withdraw certification. Who's on there? Boeing. What do they know? They're not even AS9100, nor did they get it for 22 years. We have from Reuters, Miss Elizabeth Lund, their Vice President of Quality, that stated now we're willing to go get it after 22 years, and they forced their suppliers. Do you know how much that was? Over $9 billion between America and the Europe and all that, the world. So the entire world, 20,000 certs between America and all the rest of it. I think it was 9,769 for the United States, and it was 9,700 for U.S. I think it was 9,769 for Europe, or vice versa. But anyway, you look at it, $9 billion. Very troubling. So they mandated that, yet they were on the website, the management committee. On top of it, they paid big bucks for these certs, the poor suppliers. Listen to what ANSI-ANAB said right off their website. Is your certificate accredited? If your certificate was issued by an ANSI-ANAB accredited registrar, the answer to this question is probably good. Do you want to get on a probably? But you go back and you look at what ISO does, ISO.org, which is the standard writing basically for the standard culmination for the International Organization of Standards. They're the ones who take care of the standards. They basically said choosing a certification body. Check if it's accredited. Accreditation provides independent confirmation of competence. And the accreditation body that's certifying the cert says, if your certificate was issued by an ANSI-ANAB accredited registration body, the answer to this question is probably yes. So I guess ANSI-ANAB does not have an independent confirmation of competence, do they? And then we go into this. Your Department of Commerce, and I gave this all to Lorenzo, and I gave it to Beatrix. I gave them the information, and it appears they never looked at it. Maybe they're embarrassed because if you knew about this, the fact that the Department of Homeland Security sits not only as a member on ANSI-ANAB, but also a customer. And let me go on a little bit further. ANSI and ANAB founded the International Accreditation Forum in Delaware, and also their sister organization, ILAC, the International Laboratory Accreditation Cooperation in Australia. They are associations of accreditation bodies, both national and international, that are equivalent in accreditation to ANSI-ANAB, who is also the underwriter. And you know what that means as a lawyer. Get rid of the senator hat, put on the lawyer hat. They are legally responsible. When that door popped off the Alaska Air, the lawyers should have also gone after them, but they won't, because the DOJ, as you can see, also sits on there being protected. ANSI-ANAB protects the federal agencies, and they do vice versa. But this is a great one. Here you are with Bonnie Del Conte, the CEO of Constep, a NIST-MEP, which is basically Department of Commerce. 50 strong in 50 states, getting state and federal funding, where 64.85% of those funds go to pay their personnel, management, and bonuses. It's not good, Richard. I have a letter here from one of their former employees that said, relationships and co-funding of other nonprofit agencies was jokingly called money laundering. MEP would become a sponsor for other nonprofits and give them money, and then they would give us money. That's unbelievable. It's absolutely terrible. So we're going to go on with this poem, Senator Blumenthal, because I think it's a very good poem. It's necessary and it's proper. So we sent out a letter to have a meeting with you because Boeing broke the Sherman-Clayton Act and many laws by then they themselves not getting AS9100 certified, but they forced it down their suppliers' throats. For 22 years, they went without it. What were they building their planes on? And by the way, when they gave up on-site auditing, there's over 8,300 planes buzzing around, and we don't know if it was properly heat-treated, welded, or even non-destructive testing being done. I've been in manufacturing for over 40 years plus, Senator Blumenthal. That's why I stood up, because I care about those people who might be flying in one of those planes. That's a lotto ticket ready to bust. And here it is. Blumenthal sat while the standards fell flat. And by the way, Bonnie Del Conte, 2006 to 2020, and she was incompetent. I can say that because I've got all the documentation tracing her history. And it's not good. The MEPs are in it for the money. They did not help manufacturing in America. Remember what we say, Richard. Figures never lie, but liars always figure. Blumenthal sat while the standards went flat. In a chamber of marble where senators dwell, one man rose up with a truth bomb to tell. Guberman stood with documents tight. Boeing's deception was now in plain sight. Chairman Blumenthal, he said with a frown, you've let certification fraud trickle down. You chaired the committee with oversight eyes, yet standards and ethics were buried in lies. Back in '02, Boeing's command told all the vendors, comply or be banned. Get AS9100 certified, the bulletins read, or parts you deliver will never be fed. Yet Boeing itself, for 22 years, skipped AS9100 audits and dodged all the fears. They sat on the boards, they played judge and king, but never once wore the AS9100 ring. Miss Lund, the VP, said in 24, we'll now get certified, though we've done it before. But compliant ain't certified, just like CPR. You can know what to do, yet not get by far. Richard Blumenthal smiled with MEP kin, a Constep events where the real games begin. Bonnie Del Conte, 2006 to 2020, with funding in hand, ran NIST pet branch in old Constitution land. Money's recycled, the whistleblower said. NIST pays a nonprofit, and then it backs Fed. A laundering joke that they laughed at with cheer, but tax law and ethics were nowhere near. While Boeing and ANSI played house with ILAC, Commerce and DHS had their hands in the sack. Double paid agents with titles so grand were cashing in cash with the other hand. They spoke about safety, about public trust, while American industry gathered up rust. The standards were twisted, the audit's a game, and Boeing's deception lit up the flame. The DOJ, Guberman said with a sigh, their customers too, they won't even try. They sit on the boards, they sign the same checks. It's a monopoly laundering dressed in respect. So here stands the man who had guts to reveal a cartel of oversight greased by the wheel. If Richard Blumenthal knew, then it's moral decay. If he didn't, he's failed in a gravest ways. So here's the call out from Guberman's pen to courts, to the press, to the people again. No more charades with ANSI-ANAB and crew. We demand real standards and justice too. My number is 203-556-1493. And Senator Blumenthal, Lorenzo, and Beatrix, I would like a meeting. It's very important. Or else I'll just keep on going. And we'll just keep on going and going. And remember something. It is not the size of the dog in the fight that counts. It's the size of the fight in the dog. Just remember that. And remember this too from David Foster Wallace. The truth will set you free, but not until it is finished with you. Just remember that. I look forward to your call.